Hello, hello, welcome back to the island. My name is Donald, aka the Scruffy Looking Gamer. Today we've got a couple really spicy ones to talk about, so let's jump on in. Alright, we're gonna get started today with something really spicy, and I don't just mean the color of Pasha's hair. But first up, we have Pasha, Flower and Thorn, Mystic Citizen, 3 soul cost, 2 and a blue, an 8/8. And you can pay 1 blue and look at the top 5 cards of your deck and put them back in any order. That's not an ability that we've seen before. We've seen a couple spells that allow us to look at cards in our deck, and usually we could put one back on top, one on the bottom, and then draw a card, something like that. But the ability to look at 5 cards deep and then place them in whatever order you want. That's a new ability, and it's at first glance it's just it's okay, I guess. But what if, and hear me out on this, we're going to go down this rabbit hole. What if you pay that blue, look at the top 5 cards, then you cast Morning Muster. You look at all of your 11-year cards, place 2 of those cards on the bottom of your deck, and replace them with the top 2 cards of your deck. Now, you've just looked at all the 5, so you stacked them the way you wanted. And let's just say in those 5, you were able to find Adriel, a card that we got spoiled last week. We talked about how the best way to make Adriel work is to flip him out of your 11-year row with a card like Ferocious Ranks. But there's no way to guarantee that Adriel gets into your 11-year row. Well, what if you could guarantee that? Maybe not guarantee, but with Pasha in the top 5, there's a good chance that you can possibly find one of those. And then you can double up. You can run Charlie and Adriel as well. They're kind of the same, and their abilities are very similar. So that's going to double the chances you have of one of them being in the top 5. You play Morning Muster, you replace Charlie or Adriel into your 11-year row, and then you Ferocious Ranks. Flip them out of your 11-year row. They tack immediately because they'll be eager. You get that really powerful effect that they have to be able to flip any citizen out, or a card. Charlie says specifically it has to be, or Charlie says it can be any card. And if it's a citizen, it becomes eager, so it can also attack. Adriel's a little more restrictive. It has to be a citizen for Adriel, and it has to be 4 or less. But this could work. I mean, it's janky, but I mean, it's a thing. It could work. 1 blue mana for this, 1 blue mana for Morning Muster, and then Ferocious Ranks is a white and a blue. So on turn 3, you're casting Pasha. And on turn 4, you're spending the 1 blue there, the 1 blue for Morning Muster, and the 2 for Ferocious Ranks, and you're getting a lot of value. Don't know if it can get there, but I mean, it's a thing. It exists. It's something we can try. Beyond that, this art, best art I've seen so far in Wicked Prophecy. She's got these Poison Ivy vibes going on. It's pretty sweet. This card in foil is going to be absolutely nuts. I cannot wait to see this one in person. It's great. But let's move on to our next card. So we've got Sakcha and Bimar. I'm guessing on those names, but we're gonna go with that. Sakcha and Bimar. They are a Drurak citizen, 1 hybrid white or green, 3/3, and has a new ability called Solo. Solo says, you may not use the citizen's ability if you have used an ability of a citizen of the same name this turn. So basically, this only triggers once per turn, no matter how many copies you have of the card. That does not work on other cards. For instance, on, say, Amara, if you have 3 Amara on the field and a citizen dies, all 3 of those triggers will happen with Amara. in three separate Amaras. With the ability solo, we're now saying even if you have 3 of this card, you're only going to get it once per turn. So this has it also has when this card is detached from a citizen you control, you draw 1. So we talked about when we saw Kirby spoiled that we needed to get payoffs for attaching and detaching citizens. Kirby has that payoff to detach 2 citizens. You're drawing a card. If one of those is Sacha and Bimar, then you're going to draw an additional card from their ability. So it looks like we're going to be able to draw cards with this attach and detach mechanic. We're still a little in the dark with this mechanic, but we're getting a little more information every day, and we're going to be able to draw cards. But what do we do with those cards? That's what we still don't have. We need to have some sort of reason why we're drawing all these cards. What's our payoff going to be? How can we get ahead by doing the attach and detach mechanic? So still waiting for that. Hopefully we'll get some more information on what attach and detach is really intended to do, and then we'll be able to I guess evaluate this mechanic a little better. Right now I'm still kind of up in the air on it, but a mechanic I'm not up in the air about is Pluto, Raging Goliath. Pluto is back. He is very angry this time around, and he is a 10/10 for 4 total soul cost, black and a green, and 2 anything. And he has an ability that says you can engage and pay X. So you pay any amount of soul energy. Return target citizen with a total soul cost equal to X from your limbo pile to the island. So this is a very similar ability we already have in Xyla. You could, once per turn, use Xyla's ability to cast 1 citizen from your limbo pile, and they, just like they were in your hand, you were casting them, even though they're in your limbo, you were casting them back to the island from your hand. Pluto's ability, they're very similar. They're both 4 total soul cost. You can only use this once a turn because you have to engage him. So they're similar in those aspects, but there is a key difference here. With Pluto, it's worded return target citizen. So you don't have to adhere to casting restrictions. So that means you could do it on your opponent's turn. It also means it can't be countered because you're returning them, you're not casting them. So your opponent cannot do a rash judgment or a dead on arrival in response to you casting like they can with Zilla. Because Zilla, you're just using Zilla's ability to cast from your limbo. Pluto gets around that, which can make for a pretty big difference. So what do you do with that ability? I mean, it's good already just to be able to reuse citizens that have died in your limbo. Maybe you sacrifice them, maybe your opponent removed them and you want them back. You can just recur them with Pluto. But I think where it's really going to shine is, say, on your opponent's turn, they're playing some sort of aggressive deck, and they have a capital punish to kill your Moxie, but they can't kill Pluto because he's higher than 2 soul costs. Capital punish only hits 2 or less. So they capital punish your Moxie so that they can get their citizens attacking, but then you can always just use Pluto and bring her right back. So I think that will make a big difference, where with Xyla, we couldn't do that. We could only do it on our turn. We had to wait. But now you can basically double up your copies of things like Moxie or like a Rhea. If you are out of 11-year cards and you need Rhea to get rid of the sidestep, you can do that. Pluto's ability is strong. And not only that, if you pair it with Xyla, then now you're recurring 2 citizens a turn, basically, or 1 on your turn, 1 on your opponent's turn with Pluto. So the recursion is strong for sure, which really leads me into the issue. One of the issues we already have in Genesis is we don't have much to deal with Limbo. We have one card in Midnight Meander to deal with, to abolish cards out of Limbo. So I'm really hoping that they're going to start showing us some more Limbo hate cards, because if not, these undead decks are going to get insane, and it's going to be really hard to deal with and cause frustration. So hopefully they've taken that into consideration, and we'll see some more Limbo stuff where we can abolish out of Limbo piles. But there's still a lot more cards that we haven't seen yet. We're getting them one at a time, basically. So I do expect to see some of that later on down the road. But I am really excited about Pluto. He's going to be a great addition to the undead decks, and one I'm really looking forward to play. That's all the spoilers we have for today. There's plenty more still to come. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. Until next time, see you on the island.